In early November, 4 members of our strategic sourcing team attended the ATC Sourcing Social Talent Conference. In today's report, we will investigate exactly what they have learned. And since the conference, what has kept you up at night?
What's kept me up at night has been about the importance of understanding how all these tools work, specifically around the Boolean logic side of things, so that we really grasp whether or not the tools that we're using are effective and we don't end up sacrificing quality for quantity or efficacy for efficiency.
Since you are what the net says you are, and since found content is king, not just content is king, and since the internet is actually getting narrower because it's presenting tailored content based on who you are, where you live, who your friends and connections are, what's keeping me up at night is how are we going to reach those people who aren't aware and aren't already our fans?
Key takeaway for me, I think, was this emphasis on the commercial impact of a poor candidate experience. We were introduced to a tool called a candidate resentment calculator, and for example, when we plug CBA's numbers into there, so talking about 10,000 hires a year, about 30 applicants per role, and average cost of customer about $950 in the banking sector, we're talking about a potential loss risk of $47 million, which is enough to keep you up at night.
And how was your mind blown?
Mind was blown by the introduction of this idea that we can start thinking about moving away from EVP. That companies with a really strong brand, the suggestion is to start thinking about hiring people who hate your company. So while I don't necessarily subscribe to that completely, I do like the idea that to be disruptive, you want to hire people who want to disrupt your company and bring about change. So that gave me a lot to think about. So really,
So one stat for me that really stood out was just how quickly word spreads about experience. 83% of candidates will share a positive experience with their inner circle, and over half will share that on social media. So for me, that sort of emphasizes the extended and broad effects that our experiences will have on the consumer market.
So there was this particular sourcing example that was provided, which I just thought was incredible because it was strategic in nature and it delivered an amazing result. So using the power of technology, one particular firm was looking to hire some C++ programmers who are not on LinkedIn, who do not use their job titles anywhere, but through Twitter and Instagram managed to find the secret coding language between them, which was all about their favorite coffee. And in fact, they were posting pictures from their favorite coffee shops. So they leveraged this information to actually come up with a marketing campaign to appeal to these individuals. And rather than storming the coffee shop and creeping them out, they created a very effective advertisement which they placed on the bus shelter directly in front of the coffee shop, showing a dude drinking a coffee saying, "Fed up with your job, come have a coffee with us and talk to us," and actually led to a series of successful hires. So I'd love to see us start to approach some of our tough sourcing challenges in that fashion.
And how are you going to implement what you've learnt for talent acquisition at CommBank?
So the key takeaway from me was the danger of having a generic branding approach or a one-size-fits-all EVP, which what it ends up with is sort of just lots of applicants, but not necessarily the right applicants. So for me, obviously, that emphasises the need to continue to invest in what we're doing in these segmented EVP for critical talent segments to get the right people into those roles.
One of the things that I'd like to take away and implement is a tool that we've shown called Crystal Knows, and what it is an online kind of personality aggregator. So it uses all of your sort of social content and your digital footprint to summarize a personal profile for you and some suggestions on the best way to communicate with that particular person. So look, while I probably don't suggest that we do that for every single candidate that we talk to, I think embedding the idea of tailoring your message is an important one.
So if you focus on the internals, the right externals will come. Which means if you build it, they will